The moment the story begins should feel like a physical blow to the chest, so imagine this. A little girl no older than 10 stands frozen at a bakery counter, clutching a decorated birthday cake so tightly her knuckles have turned white. Her voice trembles as she whispers that she doesn't have enough money to pay for it. The sunlight through the bakery window falls across her pale, worried face, and for a moment the busy room feels unbearably still, as if the world itself is holding its breath over the heartbreak of a child returning her own brother's birthday cake. If you believe in hope, compassion, and second chances, this is your kindness journey. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to help stories like this reach more hearts. Her name is Aria, a quiet, gentle girl with blonde hair neatly tied in a school ponytail, still wearing her simple uniform after rushing from school. She looks far too mature for her age, shaped by responsibilities she never asked for. Next to her stands her younger brother, Rowan, only 7, his small hands tightening around the straps of his backpack. His wide, anxious eyes shift from his sister to the cake, sensing something is wrong even though he tries to stay brave. The bakery smells of warm bread and sugar, yet the air around the siblings feels cold with disappointment as Aria slowly slides the cake back across the counter. Watching from a corner of the shop is a man most of the customers would never expect to see in a local bakery. Elric Thorne, a man known throughout the city as a quiet but formidable business magnate, stands tall in a tailored gray suit. His white hair, neatly combed back, gives him an imposing presence, and he rarely visits places like this without a purpose. But today is different. Today, something in the scene before him pulls at a part of his heart he long believed had hardened beyond repair. As Aria apologizes to the kindly bakery staff, insisting she'll find something cheaper or maybe bake something at home, a memory stirs within Elric, one he has spent years burying beneath work, wealth, and loneliness. He once had a daughter too. A daughter who would now be the same age as Aria if she had lived. He remembers the hospital room, the sterile smell of disinfectant, the way her small hand felt in his own as he whispered promises he was too late to keep. And suddenly the ache he has learned to disguise behind stern eyes hits him sharply, like a blade pressed between old scars. The bakery is bright and lively, filled with sunlight bouncing off glass displays, but for Elric, the room darkens into an echo of the past he never escapes. He feels an overwhelming pull toward the struggling siblings, though he cannot yet explain why. He watches as Aria tries to keep her voice level, telling the cashier she simply miscalculated. The cashier, a young man with kind eyes, attempts to soften the moment with a gentle smile, but Aria's face flushes with embarrassment. More customers begin watching, whispers rising, and Rowan's small voice finally breaks the fragile silence as he asks if they have to leave now. Aria nods quickly, holding her brother's hand with fierce protectiveness. She straightens her shoulders in a way that does not belong to a child, and something inside Elric cracks open. He knows their mother, Leora, the woman who has worked in his mansion for nearly 2 years. A devoted, hardworking maid who often stayed late to earn extra hours, always with a warmth in her voice even when she looked exhausted. He remembers seeing her rush home sometimes with the same uniform worn from long days. But never once did she ask him for help. Elric steps forward before he can talk himself out of it. His polished shoes click softly against the floor as he watches Aria gently push the cake back. She whispers that she'll try again next year when she's saved enough. For a moment, Rowan's hopeful excitement shatters, and Elric sees something hauntingly familiar in the boy's trembling lower lip, the disappointment of a child trying too hard to be strong. He thinks of all the birthdays he missed with his own daughter. The regret suffocates him. When Aria leads Rowan toward the door, ready to walk out, Elric finally moves. His voice remains calm, steady, and low as he tells the cashier he will cover not just the cake but anything else the children might need. Aria turns sharply, startled, embarrassed, and almost defensive. She insists she cannot accept such a gesture, especially from her mother's employer. But Elric sees the instinctive fear behind her refusal, the fear of owing someone powerful, of feeling like charity, of being reminded of the distance between their worlds. The bakery grows quieter, customers pausing mid-conversation. The sunlight hits Elric's face as he kneels down to Arya's level, something deeply human softening in his stern expression. He tells her he is not helping because she is her mother's daughter, but because no child should carry burdens meant for adults. He tells her that birthdays matter, that Rowan deserves a moment of joy, and perhaps, unspoken but heavy, because he missed the chance to give those moments to his own child. Arya's resolve cracks. Silent tears gather at the corners of her eyes as she looks at Rowan, who stares at the cake with renewed hope. The cashier quietly boxes the cake again, this time with extra pastries added at no charge, touched by the unexpected tenderness of the scene. The siblings leave the bakery with full hands and full hearts, but what follows stuns not just them, everyone who knows them will soon feel the ripple of the moment. Elric doesn't return to his mansion with the cold detachment of a billionaire. Instead, he asks his driver to take him straight to the small apartment complex where his maid lives. The closer he gets, the more he remembers the weight of past failures. When he arrives, Leora is already home, surprised to see her children bursting into the room with excitement. She nearly drops her laundry when Elric himself steps forward, explaining in a composed, reserved tone what he witnessed. She freezes, mortified at the thought of him seeing her children struggle. But Elric reassures her before she can break down with apologies. He tells her no parent should ever feel ashamed for doing their best. He tells her she reminds him of someone he once loved, a woman who worked tirelessly for her family. Then he does something even his employees would never expect. He offers Leora a full scholarship fund for both children, a salary raise, and flexible working hours so she can take care of her family without breaking herself in the process. The words are spoken gently, with the sincerity of a man who has finally found a way to honor the memory of his daughter by ensuring no other child he encounters must endure what he failed to prevent. Before the final emotional closing, viewers are kindly requested to comment and share what part of the story touched their heart the most. That night, after Elric drives home, he sits quietly in his vast, echoing mansion. For the first time in years, the silence doesn't feel suffocating. Instead, it feels like a beginning. A quiet shift toward healing. The city outside glows with gentle daylight fading into evening, and somewhere across town, a small boy blows out the candles on the birthday cake he nearly never had, while his sister smiles with a relief and joy she has long forgotten. And though the world does not know it, a tired billionaire sits alone with softened eyes, realizing that sometimes the greatest fortunes are not measured in wealth but in the hearts we mend along the way.